Welcome Larry and Andrea as new members to the Conservation Commission. Do you know Mike?
No, I don't.
Hi, Andrea.
Mike Loftus recently moved from Long Island.
Ah.
And where is it you live?
On Summit,
At the corner house.
corner house.
Right. So when you're going up Summit.
Northeast corner of Summit and Summer.
Yeah.
Big white house, 1900.
You know whose house was that?
Summit and
Ted
Summer.
Navadowski's.
Nabradowski's, right.
Nebradowski, yeah.
Right.
See, we've got him for
But
a reason.
you know what? It was
everyone's prior houses. Like when you're
the person who
That's
How you give directions in Newport.
two kids. Mike,
Go to the old Smith House, take a left.
and, she lives next door.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. He was on the board,
That's
right?
So we're the ninth owners.
Yeah.
P. Mike Pinternicchio. Did they live there?
No.
Okay.
That was not Mike's house.
Okay. It is true, though, Jim.
Right now.
Forever and ever, for not quite the whole 24 years we lived there, we lived in the Barton's house. It was never ours. Now, the people who live there now live in the Irwin's house.
We lived in the Kalisa house for the first 5 years we lived there, and we were that was 3 owners before we lived there.
Yeah,
All right,
it's got a
so
history.
we have the May minutes. Is there any corrections or changes?
I only have page 1 in here.
Well, she sent out the second page.
I have it. I printed it separately, so
we,
I do have it.
We got also the Conservation Commission minutes, which was very kind of you, but I didn't think we needed them.
Yeah, I wasn't the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Well, I do have.
And I sent an email with the second page.
Oh yeah, no, I have.
Yeah.
I have the first page, but I
Oh, you're
didn't
right,
print it
I
out.
did
And
say.
I have the second
I
page.
did send cuts, and you're right, I didn't get the. How did
Any corrections or changes?
I send the cuts?
Being none,
I didn't see any.
I would accept a motion to accept the minutes.
I
So moved.
Seconded, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Abstaining? Okay. So, we have no public hearing because no one has petitioned any of our efforts, which is nice. And there are no members of the public to make comments unless any of you have something you want to bring up that's not on the agenda. Good?
Well, you know, the website, but talk about that later?
No, talk about it now.
So, I got onto the town website and all the information's out of date as it pertains to the Heritage Commission. It shows, for example, a meeting is March 27th. It doesn't show the latest meetings. It doesn't show the commission members, the alternates correctly. So I'm just curious who is responsible for the website.
I would be. I thought.
No pointing fingers. I don't
No,
know
it's absolutely all right. I'm looking it up right now.
if you have like somebody who handles the
Well,
whole
Joanne
town.
does some of it also. Like she would update the members, but I thought recently she had updated the members on the website, and then so if we go to conservation or no heritage, sorry, apologize. She's got Jackie. Let's see.
Jackie?
And Mike. So she has just Jackie, Jim, Virginia, and Michael. You're right. There's 2 new members
Well,
today, so that hasn't been updated.
and also Kate Loophole.
Oh, you're right, and Kate should have been on there. It might take Joanna like maybe a month in the rears to update those people.
And then the alternates, Kenneth Vig?
He is no longer even an alternate.
Right.
Kenneth Vigu,
Vigu, yeah.
you're right, he needs, and Jeff Jeff North is an alternate. So remove Kenneth, okay, and add 3 new. And then I do have the June agenda, the May agenda, the March agenda, but I think I am behind in updating the minutes, absolutely, so I will get those on there.
And Christine, the meeting time also should be 6:30 and not 6.
we
Although that
chose that.
content
Yes,
info.
yes, March 20th.
Thank you guys for being so accommodating for me.
Well, it's quite all right.
That, I think the March 27th meeting was at 6, but I don't know why that's still coming up. So I can delete it right now, but I had it overcorrect on tonight's meeting. So I will delete that also, which I can do right now. So sounds good. And I will continue to peruse this if anyone wants to email me on mistakes or anything.
So no, I
will
can do that in
that.
future. I wasn't sure who handled
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Don't worry about it. No, it's good to remove Ken. And then add 3. And Kate isn't on there. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Minutes.
All right, unfinished business. Updating the rules of procedure. In your original packet, you were given a copy of the rules of procedure, but I believe that we have gotten a new set of rules, and I'm not sure.
The mic's just a little bit, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. No, right. I'm not sure if there was anything changed in this from the old rules. Is there anything more than somebody who probably typed them? Do you know specifically if there was any major change in this?
The only thing,
Actually, I did not type these,
Okay.
but I do know that if I remember correctly, in the meeting, it was requested that the time be changed from 6 o'clock to 6:30. I believe that it's the 4th Monday of the month,
and I changed both. I updated those.
and Christina updated.
Yes, and then what's interesting is I put page numbers on them, although I could only do this. It's only me. The first page doesn't have a page number, but
That's fine.
always at a normal way you do it. Oh, okay, so I'm like, why does that say page 1 of 6? Okay, and then I added also to the end, because we haven't had this if you all agree with it, although you could review it, we could have people sign and date, and then I put this in the record, like this is what goes on the website with your signatures, and then it was revised June 26th. Obviously, I can change that date to July if you want to continue to look at it.
I think everybody ought to have a shot at reading it. This is almost exactly what you had, but for Larry and Andrea, who are new, I think it'd be great if we could read it, and then we can sign it, and then this can be our rules. I guess the only question is, do we then adopt a separate set of rules when we meet to go over monuments and memorials?
Well, is that a BOS decision if we're going to merge them, or is that...
That's a done deal.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, well then why don't I work on bringing the two rules so we can combine them somehow? And the new title would be Rules and Procedures, it'd be Heritage / Monuments and Memorials.
I would think it would be all under one document, whether it's a separate section
The section.
for monuments instead of, so it's
Okay,
It's
let me,
really
then
defined, but
that's good. Okay,
one
so,
document,
Yeah.
2 sections.
okay, so that got approved. Okay, perfect. So then,
Yeah,
My
no.
problem, sorry.
No, that's great. I think it then could be Article 6, or Article...
well, and I'll have the RSA associated with monuments and memorials too.
I don't know that there is one.
Oh, you-
It's purely a town ordinance, but you can reference the ordinance,
Absolutely.
okay?
Okay, let me work on combining those and seeing if I can find any errors, and then I'll bring both of them combined next time. And then obviously, if anyone sees anything wrong with this one, I could also update as the meeting goes along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could I ask that maybe at least a week or so prior to our next meeting that we get that electronically?
Absolutely.
So we have a chance to review it, and then we could actually move on it at the meeting,
Yeah.
instead of reviewing it at the meeting.
And I'm still
Puts us
working
another one
on
behind.
Yeah.
sending you a Google message invite, because I didn't know, I think Joanne knows how to do it, and I haven't been able to get a hold of her, because I know I'm not getting out those Google invites. Send a email.
I do have a quick question.
Yep.
So, is it going to be all under the umbrella of Heritage Commission?
Yes.
So you're not going to call it monuments and...
It's the Heritage Commission, and our duties are the Historic District,
Yeah.
the duties by statute of the Heritage Commission, and the Monuments and Memorials Committee, which is wholly a town
It will
ordinance.
be under Heritage. So
Right.
there won't be separate areas on the
No,
website
but
anymore.
what we might think about, and you might think about, is writing up a little thing when you hit Heritage Commission, a little narrative that is more current, and what the, the Reader's Digest version of what we do, and include monuments and memorials, and include the historic district.
Yep.
The reason Andrea is on the commission is one, because she's smart, and two, because she lives in the district. So
My garage doesn't, but the house is.
right.
Little dabble, do you?
Yeah. Well, and your labyrinth,
My
your labyrinth
yeah.
is in the district. So, at least as we know it now, and we will talk about moving into other historic business districts, historic whatever, because we need some more opportunity to opine about buildings and preservation.
One small thing, I think on this document we talked about putting the date on the bottom of all of them, so that if it was ever detached, we know that it's part of. Remember that? I know it says on the last page,
Oh, I see. Sure.
revised June 26, but if it ever got detached, you wouldn't know if it's from a previous version or not.
I can put it on the bottom of each that
As a
updated.
footer.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep.
and it'll have a new one. I'll have it for next month's, and then again, if I have to change it, I can, do it. So that it'll have the July, updated July. We're meeting in July, right? Because we're supposed to.
Well, we are supposed to. We'll talk about that at the
Okay.
end of this meeting.
Okay.
It may mean that we won't meet at all in the summer if we want to keep the July, September schedule. But we could think about that. It really depends on what other opportunities come our way, because there's a lot of things that sort of ebb and flow that we will lean on our BOS member to keep us apprised of. So, we good about that? Any other questions about rules and procedures? Okay. And as you look at you also have copies in your original packet of the monuments and memorials procedures. It's really pretty simple. I think it's good to take a little review of that. I hope you have it.
I do, I saw it.
Okay. It really was more specific to locations and to make sure that we didn't put things in places that really they don't fit or belong. Now, to that end, I turn to Larry with your historic society hat on. Is there any progress on the signage for the Silby Bridge?
Not that I know of.
Okay, and who's doing that?
I have no idea.
Oh,
That's the North Newport Bridge.
Yeah.
Super Family Bridge.
yeah, I thought,
I thought the state was going to do it.
well, I don't know. The board agreed, the BOS agreed to the name, and I made the assumption that it was coming through you, the Historic Society. But,
First I've heard of it.
well, you knew about the name,
Yeah,
and the request for the
right.
name.
Yes.
So I guess that's a good question that I will have to bring to the BOS.
Where is the Silby Bridge? I apologize.
That's
Is
quite
that
all right. It's on
recorded?
Oak Street, almost at the top. It's what we call the new green metal bridge.
Yeah.
And is there a dedication supposed to happen for this?
Well, if we ever get the signage, yeah, we will.
Because I think Conservation mentioned the signage and who it's being dedicated to. And then it kind of fell away because they said it was someone else. I think it's a town. I think the BOS, yeah.
Yeah, I think that precedes me.
It does precede.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
makes signs for
Sibley Bridge?
Well,
the town?
The bridge,
No, I meant the approval.
you could go through
Might alter
anyone,
that.
but I'm
Yeah.
sure Joanne knows someone because she does this stuff. And as long as we present, I think the town was supposed to make the sign.
Well, so who made the sign for the Brady Bridge?
When was
I
that?
mean, who paid for it?
That wasn't that week.
That was donations from his
Community.
classmates.
Right, it was privately paid for. I
Yes.
have the feeling that that's going to be the same case for the signage for the Sibley Bridge.
Wasn't that Dale Llewellyn?
Dale Llewellyn made the two that have his image on it.
Right.
And the bronze one on the stone, that was donations,
Yeah.
and that was American bronze, I think, out of Florida.
I mean, I'm sure we can find out where to get stuff done. The
Oh, yeah.
question is who's going to pay, and I'm perfectly prepared to come to the BOS and ask that question. Because there still is Sibley family,
Yeah.
generational, who could help out, and I suspect folks who are in the Historic Society or other people who have an inclination. The Andrew Reed's park was paid for privately. So
it's not known as the Sibley Bridge yet,
not yet, but it will
but it
be.
will be
Yeah.
a naming and.
Yeah.
Because the Sty factory is right there. The residence is just up the hill where Dr. Walsh lives. That was the Sibley family residence.
And there was some talk about the state maybe doing a bigger diorama there, because there is that nice history thing, but there was a conversation about that. So I'll bring that up to the BOS and find out where that is.
So, I don't know if I brought it with me. I took took that sign, that diorama, and I blew it up. Took a picture, blew it up, and I recorded all the information on it. And it came from section 106 of, if you guys want, I can email you a copy of that. If you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
see who did it.
Right? That would be great. All right. That was a little deviation here, but it related to monuments and memorials. To the best of your knowledge, Christina, has anyone approached the town about putting up a monument or a memorial?
No, not in
Okay.
again my tenure. The only thing that I believe was broached was the signage, but I don't remember which bridge, but the Conservation Commission brought up, and I have a feeling it's that one. Yeah, but no.
Okay. I'm wondering, and it's a purely conjecture on my part, if there will be any effort, and I say it in a positive way, for any kind of a physical memorial for Roy. Unless, his contribution was substantial and the community center is going to be named after him, but I don't know that to be true.
And he also has a bench in front of the parking lot, which used to be the Newport house. It's the bench that's right next to Centipede Street.
Oh, yeah, but those were paid for benches.
Yeah, Larry and I paid for those.
Yeah.
That one.
So
Yeah,
this is Roy who.
Malou,
Roy
who
Malou.
passed away.
A few months ago.
Yeah.
But
But
donated the whole park in honor of Sarah Hale.
at the library. And also if you go to the senior center, that statue, he brought the guy from Finland and had it
For
made.
both of them.
For both of them, yeah. So, it would be appropriate, obviously, for something, but, okay, just keep in the back of our minds. Okay, so, Main Street DOT updates. I sent off the letter to the state, responding to the June 2022 letter to us, asking if we had any comment about the Main Street parking. I'm happy to give you a copy of the letter if you'd like. Christina can email you all a copy. Essentially, I said that based on the plan as presented by the parking lot committee, Main Street Parking Committee, we would agree to their suggestions, and that we expected the ugly green signs to be taken down in the historic area. And we supported the notion of less crosswalks, and it was pretty much in support of their plan. I don't know where the whole project stands.
I can shed some light on that.
All right.
Being that the Board of Selectmen just today received an email from Mr. Grand Mason, who's the DOT engineer on the project. In his email outlined a number of things that they're going to be able to do on the state side and what the town's going to have to do on the town side. I know this is basically the design that went through the committee that presented to the Board of Selectmen was approved there are certain aspects of that the state is going to be able to do and comply with and help us out with. Then there are some things that are going to be left behind. One of them right now that's up in the air is the moving of the hydrants. There's one that's actually in the road in between Harrington's and the fitness center. Right in that section, there's a hydrant there. Few other small changes that they've talked about that need to be done, but it's up to you who's going to be able to pay for them. The state's saying that they're not able to, so the town's going to have to find the money to do that. Also, the line striping, that's something that the town is going to be having to do.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get vendors, contemporaneous with the paving to get that kind of put back together again, how Main Street's going to look. But it will have one less crosswalk. The signs are going to be going away. All the things that were
And straighten out the one for the...
correct. Important issues that really went through the committee that we opined on, that we agreed with, and so I don't think there's any big changes from what's been presented.
So what crosswalk's being eliminated? The one in the middle?
Yeah, it's
No, or the one by, well, sort of, the one by Corn Alley.
right.
Yeah, I think that's the one kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I think of the Opera House as middle, but that one's staying. Yeah.
So anyway, basically, if you are familiar with the plans that were presented through committee that are on the town webpage, that's what it's essentially going to look like. The things that plan does not show, which is all the lovely crosswalk signs, those are going away too.
Good.
So Jim, that's on the website now?
That plan has been
The new
up.
one that was...
The plan from the committee is on the website. So
Larry?
Is the resistance to the sign the color, or they don't want the signs at all? Because the state, when we first talked with them, the state said that they would bring down the appropriate sign,
Yeah.
which is yellow.
correct,
Who
not
put
the
up
lime
the-
green signs.
Who
Those
put
are
those
school
up?
zone crossing signs.
Right.
So the town put those up. The town are taking those down. So the more appropriate, correct signs will be, if anything, will be going up.
Or maybe nothing, which
I
is
didn't think they
preferable.
wanted any.
Right.
I mean, if they want to put them, they should put them in the busy crosswalks. Not that these aren't busy, but it's not the right location for that kind of thing.
There's so many signs going down that little section.
Yeah.
It's sensory overload.
It's a
and
lot of reading to do while you're driving.
If you're familiar with white noise, that's what they've become.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of signage, and I do think they would look a lot prettier with that. You can always have those little cones in the middle that just say pedestrian.
So we had those
but no people ran
for
over
a good number of years. I know because I was charged with putting them out and
Yeah.
taking them in at the end of the year.
them.
But
They're a pain.
yeah, those caused more property damage than anything.
Right, so forget it. Okay, forget my sign.
What is the actual crosswalk itself going to look like? Is this because they're so worn down? I don't even remember what it looks like.
So
I mean, it's just stripes.
they used to be white boundaries with green, solid green. A problem with that looks really good for about a week. Then that wears down. So they've gone back to, the white boundaries with the cross hatches. The coloring of that will be determined, I guess.
Like Abbey Road.
Yeah, right, the
Right.
Gabby Road.
More of a traditional crosswalk and what you see across the country, be more consistent with that.
Now, there's 5 crosswalks from the corner of Main Street and Sunapee Street and Central Street.
And 2 are going. You said 1, but I think 2 are going.
Yeah,
Isn't the
I'd have to go
Harrington-
back and look at
I
the
think
plan later to see
Harrington's one
exactly
is
which
going too.
which ones are going where.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And then they're going to straighten out the Opera House so it doesn't go like this.
okay.
So it goes like this. And reenact the curb cut, so to speak, that was there, going to bring it back. That's the intent anyway. I mean, I would like to see brick, but I realize that that's not
Expensive.
well, it is, but you only do it once.
True.
But anyway, at least, compromise. At least we got no parking lot, no parking spaces removed. In
Actually,
fact, we gained spaces.
I have to say, I mean, this morning I was on foot coming back from dropping my car off, and I had to walk across there on one of these crosswalks. And it's not the most comfortable thing to do, with the traffic coming. I'm not normally on foot, but with the cars there,
Yeah,
you're kind of at the end.
You just have to
hoping-
be aggressive.
Yeah.
Just step right out.
Yeah, but,
Boom.
Nope.
This isn't New York.
You're here-
Just step
yeah.
right out.
oh, I know.
You walked to New York and you're complaining about Newport.
That's something I've heard, the safety issues and all that.
Yeah.
It exists everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, Mike.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, so anything else on that before we press on? All right, new business, Mr. Burrows.
So, information booth. So there was some discussion over the last year or so from the town standpoint about the need to replace the information booth that is staffed and manned by the chamber. So this morning, while attending the econ meeting, that was brought up exactly. Because that building has gotten run down over its lifetime, the chamber is not staffing anybody in there to man the information booth because of the condition of the building.
Oh.
So there was a motion made this morning and some discussion that between Eichenhauer and Econ, they're going to fund the replacement of that building. So not a renovation of the building, but a replacement of that building. So understanding that that is rather new developments from this morning that should be taking place by this fall, but as we can imagine, that is right smack in the middle of our district and something that we should be opining on and talking about and having some input and approval of the type of structure that's going to be going up.
Yeah.
What I brought up this morning to that group was that the structure is going to be keeping with the image that we are all become accustomed to of the information booth on the town common. So the same red building, white trim. The only additional thoughts and topics were brought up was perhaps a little farmer's porch on the front, a place for the information attendant to sit and relax while they watch traffic go by, just as more of an appealing
Yeah?
visual, but still there was some discussion about the looks of it, which certainly falls right in our wheelhouse of what we need
Great.
to talk about. But that is new developments as of this morning. The timeline of that, the plans, as those get brought up and brought forward, I will see that they get forwarded to this board.
Is it under whose umbrella? Is it going to be under Econ's or under the Chambers?
So it's going to be under the town's umbrella.
Oh,
However, the funding of it is coming from two sources.
okay.
So,
So
Econ,
the presenters would be the town.
correct.
Okay. Good. Larry?
So there's the incorporating the washrooms and that's gone.
So the town did cut in, and there is plumbing now on the common for the eventual construction of a more permanent, facilities if the town ever decides to go that route. But that will not be. You go from a $10,000 to $15,000 project to 60 or more when you add the bathroom. So it's a cost that nobody really is prepared to bear at this time. So that is not in the plan.
Okay.
Unless people reached out to the plumbing organizations in town and they could all
Do it for free.
chip in a seat, chip in a back, chip in a pipe,
Yeah, there's a lot to the construction of once you
Oh, yeah.
plumb it.
So
And
this would be to have a public restroom.
This
there are
would be a restroom in the building for the attendant.
For the attendant, but not for the public.
well,
They talked
if
about
if
that.
they ever did further develop it, it would be a public restroom. But as of right now, no, the porta johns will stay. So the town is prepared for looking into the future of potential for expansion.
Public restrooms in town have been a bit of a challenge because they are down at the Bobby Bates Field, and they are abused, and so many times they're locked, and then people want to use them and they can't, and then they get angry, but because people abuse them, it's once you start a public bathroom, it's a big cycle. So
Should the rec center ever come to fruition, that should help.
yeah,
public bathroom down there.
Whoa, wait a minute. Should the rec center ever come to fruition? I thought it was a done deal.
It's in process, but
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, when
when
it
it's
comes.
completed.
Yeah.
Don't scare me.
Good, well, that's great. So you'll keep an
I
eyeball
will.
on that and keep us posted?
I'm probably going to be the one that'll be bringing that back before us, but
Great,
at least it's on our radar now.
okay.
So question, when is the paving going to happen? And there's a reason why I'm asking.
This, whenever the state schedules it. Nothing to do with the town.
Sometime in the fall, probably, or the early spring,
Fall.
So
fall.
I'm going to send you folks an email that we received from a gentleman by the name of Rodney Petron Jr. And this goes back, help me out Larry if I'm incorrect here, goes back I think to the 1970s.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
He was in the military and he came back home and he was working. Oh, maybe that was before he went. Well, he was running the projector at the Newport house
Oh,
The Latches Theater.
when they still had the theater and the upper floors of the hotel had been sheared off. And he claimed that he used to go down and rummage around in the basement of the old Newport house. And he said there was a door, and he opened up the door, and there was a tunnel, and he went in a ways, and there was ledges in there from the old Newport house and stuff. And conversations that I've had with Ray Reed, he said that the tunnels started on the common, on the south end of the common, and he told me that they raised the metal lid on it, and Andy Andrews had crawled down and crawled in a ways.
ah,
So I suspect that why that section of the road right there by the little common keeps breaking up is maybe because of that.
interesting. I would think that when our water and sewer folks are down there doing, we've had a lot of, and I'm not sure what the correct term is, but investigation of the condition of our pipes. Certainly in all the years that I was on the board we did, and I suspect it continues, that they would have found that at that point. I would think that as they go through with the cameras that they would have seen that. I mean, it's the first I've ever heard of it in the years that I've been here, but it's not uncommon.
Well, if
They just, when they were doing the state was doing the drainage,
Yeah.
they found a reservoir that had been built in 1860 on the south end of the Little Common. And they were going to fill it with, I believe they said flotsam. It's kind of like a concrete but doesn't really harden. And they were supposed to call me and I was going to go down and take pictures, but they never did. So
Did they do it?
I don't know if they've filled it or not, but it's a brick reservoir. I thought reading in Wheeler that it was on the big common, but it's just south of the little common. So, tractor trailers and stuff have been going over it for years. It must be a domed reservoir.
Interesting.
So we don't necessarily know what is underneath those roads. LiDAR might be able to tell us.
ground penetrating LiDAR is what Arthur had brought up.
Well, we could certainly bring that back to the BOS when they're talking with the state to do a little investigation.
I will suspect that it's been preserved by pavement and it's about to be preserved some more by pavement.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not a rebuild, it's a repave.
Correct.
But
which
it would
is-
be nice to know if there's something there,
Yeah.
regardless of paving. My personal opinion.
Well, we can look for a grant to do some historic resources development. I know that I wouldn't be at all surprised if there was a tunnel, and I think we may have been part of the Underground Railroad, because certainly Claremont was.
The library had a tunnel,
Yeah,
but that was for the heating system.
you're right. Don't go in there now, though. Well, them bugs. No.
Stopping
Okay,
through it, we're building.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, tick that on your chit-chat list with the board when you talk about the paving. All right, so because the town's process is after the election in May is when all the new committees get, their times are beginning June. So even though we elected our officers, we need to reaffirm that vote for chair and vice chair. So I would entertain a motion for the nomination of a chair and a vice chair.
So
Virginia Irwin for chair.
And Jim Burrows, the vice chair. I think that's what we originally.
Any second?
I second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. And we introduce the new members. Do we have any mystery mail that we haven't gotten?
No. Although, do you have a mailbox upstairs?
I
haven't looked.
We could have one if somebody went and put a label up there.
Well, you definitely could have one.
Yeah, Jim has one, but we could
Which
always...
I just wonder if you have had one in the past. You should have one on my other commission. Let me go
If
check.
the other commissions do, we want one too.
You're definitely getting one now, whether you have it or not. I'll work that one out.
Okay.
Mailbox
Make
upstairs.
sure someone checks it.
Yes, well then there's that too, but he's there and I come in.
I can also bring
Yeah.
whatever's in.
So our intention is to meet every other month. We have been meeting monthly just because we have a lot of organization to do. I'm of a mind not to have a July meeting because it's July, unless something comes up. But knowing what's going to be moving with the information booth, maybe we ought to keep it. We can always cancel it.
Not only that, but we have the updated,
Master plan.
well, not only that, but the rules for monuments, heritage,
Right. So
combining
that
those districts. So I think that ought to be at
get
least
that through in July.
get that through, if nothing else, to be able to.
Okay.
Would you like me to put on the agenda the information booth for July, and if it or no, just leave it off
Yeah,
until you
I
You
let me
can do
know.
what you
I
can
would-
do it like you did this update,
yeah, I would.
Okay, and then if you have something to present, it'll already be on.
and you
Okay.
can do update Main Street as well because there may be more information and
Okay, all unfinished.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will let the manager know to make sure I get a copy of those so we can.
yeah, that'd be great.
So what's the date going to be on that? 15?
That,
Oh,
that
yeah, I looked at it just a minute ago.
that's a standard one that we should have listed on the website. Let me see if it's listed on the website, so see if we're accurate.
The fourth Monday.
24th, July 24th.
Okay.
I won't be here.
Yeah, if we did that, the next one wouldn't be until August 28th,
Yeah.
which is, I think, a
Okay.
little too far out.
All right.
You won't be here.
Surgery on my knee. That's okay.
But Larry will be here.
Yep.
I
You'll probably be glad to be here at that point.
could schedule several meetings.
Well, we normally meet in August, so I apologize, we normally meet in July.
Right.
So that's a normally scheduled meeting. There will be no August meeting unless you decide you want one in July. And then, so the next meeting, unless you decide to add one, will be September. So
Yep,
maybe that
so
is a
that's
good gig.
Yeah, we'll do July. That's fine. I completely lost my train of thought. What I was going to say to you.
You were looking for a motion to adjourn.
I was looking for that too, but there was something else on my mind which has certainly left it. But if I think of it, I'll send you an email.
I do have a quick question.
Yep.
So what homework should we have?
All right.
so to speak?
So the takeaway for tonight's meeting is you read this historic resources piece
Yep.
because this is the current master plan section
Yep.
relating to historic resources.
All right.
And Jackie has already noticed a couple of things referenced that perhaps needs to be adjusted. The 95 points of interest obviously is pretty old, and this is in fact 11 years old. And take a look at the monuments and memorials thing, I think it's okay. We'll just sort of weave it into this procedure.
Can we
I,
get that before the next meeting?
Yeah,
so we can read it through?
It should
I'm
be
not
in-
showing, it's not on the website, I just went and
I
looked.
have it.
Oh, good.
But I'm saying, I thought we were going to
No,
put
no,
this into this.
Yes, we are. And she's going to send it to us.
To us, that's
Yeah.
what I got.
So you have the rules of procedures for monuments and memorials.
Yeah.
You must have given that in the original packet, correct?
I did, and I also emailed it to you.
Okay,
because
so
I have
I've got
it
to update,
electronically.
well, I won't update the website, perfect, thank you.
Does this exist electronically? Because it'd be a lot easier for,
I do
I'm not great computer
know.
savvy, but to
I-
be able to mark it up
I
and
took-
share it with the group.
I took it out of the physical plan. The plan, is the master plan on the website?
Should be.
Yes, although it wouldn't be in Word. I have Word documents of the rules of procedures, so.
No, historic resources, honey.
Yeah, just saying,
Oh, I have Word of that, yes.
can you send that along
Yes.
to us in electronic format?
And then
It's easier for us to mark it and then share it with the rest of us.
Sure, absolutely.
Because we can put it in a Google Drive.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. And you can also show who changed what in with reference to Jimmy. Okay, so that's the master plan information, okay.
So, are you interested on information about the mill project?
Yeah,
So
sure.
this is dated June 13th from Ron DeCola. He said the workforce housing project for the main mill is moving forward, albeit at a slower pace than we'd like to see. Right now, it looks like we will close in mid to late fall of this year. Central and Cross Street developments have cleared local approvals. We've got some state approvals to get through before the entitlement process is complete. It looks like we'll go well into next year before this one is ready to go.
So they need to come to us once they have the new owners for final approval. We gave them tentative approval.
Yeah.
So they could move forward to apply for a federal or state grant.
Yeah.
So is that to the Historic Society?
This was to the Historical Society. I
Okay.
reached out to Ron to see what the
It's
latest
on the website.
was.
Oh, good. But we can't type on the website.
No,
Yeah.
but it's there.
Okay.
I'm shocked, I didn't know it was that delayed. There was a lot of back and forth with their lawyers and everything. It's probably about 3 weeks ago, daily emails. I thought it was, that's really delayed for
Well,
this.
this is dated June 13th, so.
Yeah, no, I believe that's,
You want a copy of it? I'll
I don't.
email you a copy.
sure, but it's just, I've just kind of been waiting, but yeah, it's just interesting that it might be that long.
What's your email address?
C. Donovan, oh, you should have me in
You
your
have it in
system.
your email.
Since I sent you once, but it's at
That's right.
Newport,
Hello.
NH. You can, if you follow the same gig as,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I did remember what was on my mind. Where do we stand? Where does the board stand relative to the common and the thought that they were going to put granite and access to the common? Does that come back up for air, or is it still resting?
Came back up for air long enough for us to put it back to bed
Okay,
and leave it the way it is.
okay.
What was the granite thing?
This was a couple of months ago. There was some concern about people parking on the common,
Okay,
so there was a unilateral decision that no vehicles could go on the common, period. And then that created a bit of a problem for the farmers market, for the donkeys, and obviously, ultimately, from my lens, the apple pie craft fair.
Exactly.
So there was a lot of discussion. We're going to get back and forth, back and forth. The board approved the donkeys truck coming on the common, and then they were going to talk about the rest. And so now it's resting. Great. That's it.
Just gonna cut the trees down and let everybody park.
I think that's a great idea.
No. The
Just cut the
trees.
trees
I'm
down.
just joking, don't. See the
It's
email
gonna-
coming
oh my
now.
God, you better watch out for what's up Newport.
Jim's gonna show
I
you with
know.
his chainsaw.
Jim said, oh,
The
yeah,
CC commission will literally have your throat. Yeah, I love those trees.
I know. Well, we've
We all do.
had to
I
change
know.
them.
I know you were joking.
And as you can see, the Corbin Road is perfectly fine with all those widowmakers going.
Those are
There's
stunning.
a lot more that need to go.
Absolutely.
But the street looks great.
I'm waiting for a big windstorm.
Oh my
Think
God.
about the ordeal that we had to go through when the trees were cut down on Belknap.
Oh,
those big oaks, so
Yeah,
it's tough when you do any kind of big change like that
it's tough.
affect the,
My grandfather planted that.
I climbed that tree when,
Yeah.
But the common is grazing land, so it should be left the way it was.
Yes.
That's its historic purpose.
Exactly, and we have a lot of dogs out there grazing
We do.
daily.
Uh-huh.
All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
second.
All righty then, thank you very much.
That was